Hiya, how you doing? I am risking recording this podcast because I am waiting for the Spanish phone operators to call me about coming to install fiber, which has been such an odyssey in my life for the last since spring. And I want to tell you a bit about it because it actually relates to what I want to teach this week. And I'm saying I'm risking it because when they call, I'm going to have to pause this and stop recording and then try and take it up afterwards if they call in the middle of me recording. Because it is so hard to try and get this done. Like different companies have come out. Right now I've got Starlink as our router thingy for getting internet in my house, and it just cuts out sometimes and it's not always reliant and it's super expensive. So I'm trying to install fiber, which is super cheap, and my neighbors have it, and we live in the middle of the country in kind of in the mountainside in Spain, but only 1 kilometer from the beach. um but it's just there's a little bit of land around us where the neighbors who we do not get on with at all have just left everything to overgrow. So we have a lot of bamboo, cañas, they're called in Spain, and they are like wild trees, and there's just weeds everywhere. So where the posters go, where they have to ideally bring the cable through, they could just not get through. And I've been really mad at my neighbor about why can't they fix the land and why are they not doing anything and why are they not cleaning it up so we can access, no? And in the end, we just had to like literally cut down the fence between us and the neighbors and go in and clean it ourselves and tidy it all up and cut down all this bamboo to hopefully get the technicians to come out and install the cable, you know? And I'm saying this because I want to tell you that doing this work on yourself, learning to set boundaries, learning to have the mental and emotional capacity to be in this human life, but specifically in vet med, it doesn't mean that working on yourself then means that, oh, then I can just have all the other people just take advantage of me and I just like nothing has to change in the profession and the system because now I have kind of talked myself into put up with it. And this is an example, right? So I was super mad at the neighbors for not cleaning up the land so I could have my goddamn fiber. And they just don't care. They're never here. They have like a summer house here and they don't really live in the area. And I have been coaching myself and trying not to be so mad and frustrated about these months and months battling with this. And I've had to coach myself to come to a place where I'm like, these neighbors are never going to do anything about it. What do I want? I want fiber. This is what my goal is, to achieve fiber in my home. What can I do? Okay, let's just cut down the bloody fence and go and clean our land ourselves. But I've had to get myself in this state where instead of just like sitting there like a mad toddler, like I want this thing and I can't have it, I've coached myself into now taking some action. And I'm also super happy with the neighbors coming and complaining about us touching their land because we actually happened to had a wildfire not long ago. So I'm just going to say that the strip of land that we've cleared where the posters happen to be is actually a fire belt. So I've kind of like, this is a solution I've gotten to, right? And without coaching, I would likely still sit mad in a corner fighting with everybody and kind of like fighting against the current, right? Instead of finding other solutions. Another thing as well that as an example for this is in I think about 10 days, the 18th of November. I don't know when this episode is going to come out. Anyway, the 18th of November, there's a huge demonstration in Madrid where all the vets from whole Spain are going to demonstrate against our awful government who have implemented some rules that basically make it impossible for vets to run a business or even just be vets in Spain. Like, I'm not even going to go into all the details, but what I'm saying is like it's really make it really, really hard. And I am so glad that I sold my clinic and I'm not working in Spain as a vet right now because I it's just like having the patience around it now. And I really feel for all the vets right now. And of course, we could all sit back and really cry and complain and whine about this thing, or we can go to Madrid and take action and stand outside the government and say that you're gonna kill us, right? And you're gonna end up with no vets and you're gonna get rabies and you're gonna get all sorts of diseases and there'll be no one here to deal with it all. Who's gonna be there for the pets, right? But you can coach yourself and you can be in a state of mind where you're not constantly frustrated and angry and resentful with the government because that is just not a nice state to be in. The feeling of anger can be good to drive you. It can be good to drive you to write the posters and to get, to organize the demonstration and to get yourself in gear to get there instead of just being passive. But you can't let the feelings overrun you to a state where it's just resentment and hopelessness and all that, because then you don't take action, right? And you have a terrible time with it all at the same time. You're just not in a good place, right? And you hate going to work because you're thinking about the government and why they're doing this. This is so hard for me. But coaching yourself into a state where you feel better and you feel like you are not having such a hard time and life isn't hopeless doesn't mean then that you then become passive and you don't take action. Right? So can you see? So actually the coaching and for you to get your results is necessary. You have to coach yourself. You have to get yourself into a good place before you can take the necessary action to actually change the system, if that's the thing that's necessary, you know? Sometimes it's not about the system at all. Sometimes it's just us that have like a lack of boundaries, or we just get triggered by events and this and the other, and it's actually not the outside world we need to change, it's more ourselves. But a lot of times there is a lot of systems and there is a lot of situations where we do need to, you know, go in and actively change the system or the profession, but for that you still need coaching. Another example is a client I was coaching who is a partner in a clinic, and this clinic has grown amazingly, and now they're really busy, but her partners, the other vets, are not interested in changing anything. They're very, very wary of change, which is completely normal, right? We know that the human brain doesn't like change because it's dangerous, and let's just stay safe where we are, and change take a lot of energy, and why should we do this? No. So she has a strong why for changing because she can see what is happening in the clinic, that people are getting burnt out, people are getting upset, people are getting frustrated because the organization is not running as smoothly. It's not the same being 5 people than 15. You got to change your business model. And the other vets are just not interested in that. Her why is strong because she likes organization. She craves a perspective where you can kind of see where everything is going. She likes everything to be aligned. She likes everything to be booked in advance, you know, and have some sort of system. That's what she wants. So she has a strong why she wants to change things in the clinic. Now, without coaching, what we do in these situations is we sit back and we get really frustrated because why can't they change? Can't they see that this is what we need? We get resentful because now you don't want to organize it. So now my life can't get organized. And now I am just all over the place and I'm tired because of you guys. No, you can't. You get really angry because you're trying to retain staff, but the staff is maybe leaving because they can't work with this lack of organization. So you have all these feelings running through you, and then what then goes on the back of this of it, because we know that we tend to layer stuff on top now. So now we also thinking, oh, they should be doing this and they should be doing the others, and why are they not doing it? And at the same time, we're likely beating ourselves in the head with a stick, thinking, oh, why can't I speak up and why can't I convince them? No. So we were talking about, first of all, like coaching her through these emotions and kind of know am I asking too much? Like, where am I in all this? Am I being gaslit, or am I asking for too much? And what is the right amount of organization and so on? No, because if you don't have anywhere to look at and say, this is how you have to build a business, this is how you build a veterinary clinic, then you might not know exactly at what point you have to make changes, no, as a leader. So first of all, we had to coach her on her beliefs, her undercurrent thoughts, the feelings she was having, so she could get to like a solid, grounded, and calm place. Just like me with the bamboo and the fiber, and just like the vets in Spain to organize this demonstration against the government. Come to a ground, calm place where you know where you are, where you know what your boundaries are, you know what you want, you think you know what is reasonable. And now you need to understand, what is it I want? What is the goal I am having? My why is very strong. I feel that this clinic is not going to go well. I feel we're going to lose staff. I get really stressed and burned out because we have no organization. These are my strong whys. And what I want is these changes specifically. Now, once you feel calm and grounded, you can then start looking at the models that the other people might be running, because now you have to go in and you have to have a conversation, you have to have a meeting with the other vets, with the other partners about these changes you want to make. And you don't want to go in feeling hopeless, resentful, angry, anxious, and not really knowing if you are being gaslit by them or you are asking for too much and you're just a bitch. So first you get into place and you know exactly where you are, and then look at your goal. You know your why, and now you what. So the what is, I want more organization. I want us to do these changes. So have really clear what it is you want. And now you need to think of, if I want this, is it more important for me to be right, kind of telling them, can you see, I told you this was the problem, and look now how bad the problem is. We talked about when you go into a meeting like this, once you feel calm and grounded yourself and you are very clear on what you want, you have the capacity to go in and start saying something like, oh, we're doing so well. The clinic has grown. Look at where we were and where we are. And you can like bring them along with you in this, hero's journey from this little clinic where you were scraping around with a secondhand microscope, and look at you now with the CT scanner. No? And how you can you take them with you, and then you don't say, but look how bad now it's going. You go, and we want to evolve, right? We want to keep growing. We want this to go really well. And then you give them your why. You give them a why that's going to be strong enough for them to want to make the changes. And you can't do this if you are the defensive over here because you don't feel calm and you still don't know exactly how much you can ask for. And you cannot get them on this journey if you launch into, but you never did, and you should also have, because then they're defensive. And people that are defensive will not listen. So if you want to make any changes in your clinic as a leader, or maybe you just want to raise something in to make some changes, take the people that you want to make these changes. You take them on a hero's journey with you. You show them everything that's going well. Just like when I teach to evaluate, right? My 3-step evaluation process always starts with what's going well. We want to prep our brains to be happy and relaxed. Everything is going really well. And because everything is going so well, we have the capacity and we have the, what do you call it? Like the extra energy to make some changes, right? So we don't want them to be defensive. We want them first to be positive, and we are on the same side here. We're all on the same side. I'm not attacking you and saying you should. I'm saying we're all on the same side. We are celebrating together. And now the strong why. I think we need to make these changes because I can see that this and this would be so much better. And now you give them the reasons why these changes would be amazing. No, if we get more organized, we will have more nurses. The nurses will be happy. We will have retainment, and all the money you save, right? Because when you lose staff and you have to rehire, it's incredibly expensive. So you could even go in and show numbers, whatever it is you want to change. Like always, the money is always going to be a strong why. And you kind of explain the why, like your why might not be their why. So you need to know a bit how they think, so you can show them a why that's going to motivate them to make changes. And again, you can't do this if you are in a triggered state, because there's no way you can sit and think calmly. I wonder what would be a why that would be strong enough for them to make changes. You cannot sit and think that if you are in a defensive, anxious, frustrated state, right? Which is why this work is so important. And then you say, so this is your why, this is why we want to make these changes. And here's some suggestions. What do you think about if we did such and such and such? And then you present your changes, right? And then they can then make suggestions, and you can change and you can bend either way. But it's really hard to do this if you have not coached yourself first. And something that could come up that I have heard in relationships as well. No, it's like if you're in a relationship and you want to make changes in a relationship, it always has to start with you. And it's really easy then to go, but why do I have to do all the work? Why can't he also, read the books about relationships or whatever it is? Yes, but what is it you want? Do you want to be right? Or do you want to be happy, right? Do you want to force other people into doing something based on like forcing them, and you should, and trying to push shame on them, because the result you want, it's not going to be accomplished that way. So you really have to coach yourself in a way that you can let go of your ego. You can let go of being right in the I told you so, because if your what is wanting to achieve these things, and you need these people on board with you, you need your partner on board with you, your romantic partner, your business partner, the likelihood of you succeeding is so much higher if you are in the right place. And you can take this everywhere. You can take it to the government. You can take it to the management in your practice. If you are the manager and you want to make changes for your team, it's exactly the same. You want to coach yourself, and you can often. I think that's amazing to start out with a team as a leader. Is literally to go, guys, I fucked up. I thought this was going to be amazing, and I don't think I've done it well enough. I can see how this you can literally put yourself in a situation where I fucked up. Can you guys help me out? Kind of open it that way. Like, and but you can't do that if you're feeling your confidence is low, you have a lot of self-doubt, you don't know where your boundaries are. Your ego is really high trying to protect you because you don't have that calmness and that groundedness. Then it's very difficult to put a lot of responsibility on your team and show yourself as a vulnerable leader, because now you're really worried about them attacking you. And that's why I mean about coaching, that if you want to make any changes, you've got to start with yourself. And coaching yourself to a really good state doesn't mean that then you just have to lean backwards and take it all because now I can. I like the profession is horrible, my clinic is a toxic workplace. I just have to force myself to like it. That's not it. That's not what I'm saying at all. In any aspect, in any communication, any relationship you're going to have in and out of the clinic, if you can get yourself to a calm, grounded place. I know I keep repeating this, but I know some of you hear my voice in your head. You say that when we go on calls, or sometimes you write me emails saying, I was in this situation and I heard your voice saying this. And I'm thinking, like, when you're out there and you start to freak out and you're upset or you're frustrated and you want to, like, fuck it all, just hear my voice saying, coach yourself to a calm, grounded place. And from there, you can then make changes. And it's not going to feel hard. It's not going to feel like you're fighting the current. It's not going to feel like the world is against you. It's not going to feel like nothing can ever change. And it's not going to feel like, oh, I'm just one person. What can I do? If you coach yourself and you just start taking little steps and you come from a place of, I want to make these changes. I know exactly what my why is and it's strong enough, then it's going to be so much easier to do it. I don't know if you know exactly what I mean when I say your why has to be strong enough. It's a bit like if you think about weight loss, for example. It's not the same for a person who's been told, look, you weigh 140 kilos, you got 80% of a heart attack, 8% risk of a heart attack this year and dying, and your risk of diabetes is this high. You're going to lose everything you love. Like, they're going to lose you and you're going to lose them within a year if you don't make a change. That is a really strong why to go on a weight loss journey and make changes in your life, in your nutrition, and in your exercise and your day-to-day life. It's not the same for a person that has a bit of belly like me and maybe has 3 or 4 kilos that we would like to lose. The motivation, the why to make strong lifestyle changes is just not the same. Which is why it's so important that you have your why really centered and you know why you want to make these changes. What is the purpose of this? I am fighting with blood, sweat, and tears to get my fiber because I want a stronger connection and I want to save money long time and just not have all these complications of different routers and stuff that just doesn't work. And also now I just want it because I want it, because I feel entitled to it at this point. I have a very strong why. I have a very strong why. I want to help the vets in Spain, although I'm not working here anymore. I'm still registered in Spain, is because I feel really strongly that the government is not treating the vets fairly. And I think if we can make a change, the more people we are there, even if I'm just going to be a 0.01%, that might just help, tip the iceberg. And for you, if you want to make changes in your relationship, in your partnership, in your clinic, whatever it is, wherever you want to make the changes, then you have your strong why. Why do I want to make these changes? It's because X, Y, and Z. And then what is exactly the changes you need? And then what are the people involved that I need to influence so I can make this happen? And do all this from a place where you have all your facts right. You know what you're feeling. You know your triggers. You know your thoughts. You know what your limiting beliefs are that are going to come up and try and whack you on the back of the head in the middle of the meeting and go, they're not going to listen. And what do you even know? That you want to have worked through before you try to make these changes. So don't give up on the veterinary profession. if you feel like it's not working for you, if you feel you're not in the right place, like seriously, doing this work, listen to my podcast, whatever the course, do my coaching, whatever it is you need to make the changes so you can be in a calm and grounded place and um you can have this clearness, you can have this really strong self-awareness and have your priorities, have your goals, have your why, have your what, and have your who and when and how really lined up. And then you, with intention, you go in to make these changes as a leader or as a partner or simply as an employee that is going to try and make some changes. Another thing that happened for me as well, where I realized, Gunilla, Jesus Christ, is, and I think in a lot of clinics I've locumed at and hospitals that I am in right now, for some reason, I don't know how to explain this to a layman. It doesn't sound really bad, but you know when the animal dies and they go to a cold storage, let's just call it that. And somehow this is always in a shed in the back of some courtyard or in the back of a garden or out of, obviously not in the hospital. It's kind of like always a bit away and down somewhere dark. And I think for 3 years now, I have been moaning and whining every time I have to move an animal into cold storage. And it's dark in there. And you know the labels you need to have, and you have to find like the bags and this and the other. And it's just all dark in there. So at night, when we go in there, it's scary, it's horrible, and we can't see what we're doing. You have to run around like a torch while you're carrying a heavy animal, right? And it didn't occur to me because I haven't sat down and actually get what are all the facts? What do I want? It's just been this like slightly annoying thing for a long time. But the why has not been strong enough. I hadn't actually made the change. I've not made any change for this because it's not been enough for me to remember. And then the other, I think one night it was too much of it. And I was like, Jesus Christ, why do management not do something about it? And then it just landed on me. Like, of course, management are not running around with dead animals in the dark in the middle of the night. So how would they know that this shed hasn't got any light? Like, the only people that are going to know that this shed hasn't got any light are the people that work at night. And obviously that's not management, right? So then I then said to our manager in the morning, I met him and he said, how's everything? And we were just making coffee. And I said, by the way, is it possible that we could have and explain the situation? Could we have some light, light bulbs or whatever in this shed? And he said, leave it with me. So we'll see when I get to work again on the 24th. If it's happened, I don't know if I will update you on this or not, depending on how I'm feeling. But this is just it, right? Because there's so many situations that maybe annoy us or they upset us or we just get frustrated with them. But because we actually don't stop to analyze the situation and say, what is actually happening? What are the facts? Why is this happening? Do I want to change? Yes. Why? Okay. How? What is it I want? And be really clear about it and not attack. Because I didn't say to the manager, I didn't go, why the hell, blah, in this like rage. That didn't happen. I just said, it just occurred to me that, of course, he's not going to know. Why would he know that? And then I could come to him with a much more like, hey, did you know? You probably don't know this, but this is happening. Is there any chance? And then I described, like, I painted the picture of the situation, which is pretty dark. And I think that was enough for him to make that change. We'll have to see, right, if we can afford a light bulb in the shed, according to the corporate I work for. But that's what I mean, right? Like you can have all these things affecting you, but until you get centered and calm and grounded and know what you want and why and how and all that, then you might think that the veterinary profession is horrible, but you can attack these things one at a time. And you can do it once you've worked on yourself first. I hope that was clear. And I know I repeated myself a lot, but I think sometimes we need that. I definitely need that a lot. When something I'm trying to change, some patterns I'm trying to change in myself, I need to hear it repeated and ideally from different people at different times in different ways. And then it kind of lands with me. So may this be one step in your journey towards change and your journey to change whatever it is you want to change in your life. Any questions you have, any suggestions, remember I have a questionnaire you can fill out, which is super quick. You just type in, and it can be anonymous. In the show notes, you just type in, click on the form, and I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear what else, you need from me. It's amazing because in the course I'm running, Happy and Vet Med, I can ask directly. No, I'm asking the participants, what else do you need from me? What else would you like? And actually yesterday they talked about leadership, and that's why that they would love some teachings on this, because we have coached on it on the calls, but I haven't actually done a whole teaching on it. So I'm doing that now, and that's why I remembered, how important this is, that we first do our work on ourselves and then we can actually lead others, whether it's leading a whole clinic or leading a team or leading the animal care assistants or nurses you've got with you. Right. So remember that you can fill out suggestions, anything you want me to talk about in the show notes. And I think that was it for this time. And have a great week. Love you all. Bye.